Speaking of carpal tunnel, Tom Brady. No.
What?
What?
That's what we call a
That was
segue,
a
folks.
hard transition.
Yeah, that's what we call a segue, folks. You know, Jeremy, his claim to fame is actually not MMA. It's football. He's a Woodbridge football legend, a Maple football legend. And so I wanted to give him an opportunity to talk about football because I'm actually very curious. Qu'est-ce que c'est à la Tom Brady, Jeremy? Did I get that right? Is that right? Did I get that right?
What? Yeah, David, translate. What did he just say?
Qu'est-ce que...
What is the Tom Brady?
Oh,
What
yeah.
is the Tom Brady?
What is the Tom Brady? Qu'est-ce que c'est à la free agency de Tom Brady?
Oh, my God.
Big story. Yeah, big story. And those were kind words, by the way. Thank you for that. Big story in NFL free agency. Tom Brady, for the first time really in his career, is going to be a free agent. You know, before it was, Tom Brady was easily signed up for a contract extension. But this time he gets to test the waters of free agency. And I just want to get your take on it, guys, because it's one of the biggest free agency deals that could potentially go down in a week and some change from now. Do you think Tom Brady should stay with the Patriots? Do you think he'll leave the Patriots, or do you think he'll stay with the Patriots? What's his best option here? And basically, what do you think, Mike? What do you think?
I think that he didn't look good towards the end of the year. So I don't know if that's an allegory or a microcosm for things to come in his career over the next 3-4 years. Also, keep in mind he is 41 last time I checked.
Yeah.
41?
No, 43.
Hey,
he's 43.
Hey, guys, I'm not going to let you age shame after last night.
No, he's going to what? After last night?
Because Yo Romero.
Yeah. Tom Brady's 42, going to be 43 in August.
So, okay. I don't know very many 43-year-old quarterbacks who perform at an elite level.
Except for Tom Brady.
So I don't know if it's a good idea for him to take a pay cut with the New England Patriots when he can get as much money he can from a franchise who's willing to roll the dice. I'm not calling him stupid. I'm just saying willing to roll the dice.
Why would he have to take a pay cut?
Because New England Patriots are notorious for making guys take pay cuts.
Yeah.
And
if Tom Brady wants, but I don't think it's about money for Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's married to Gisele Bündchen. They have all the money in the world.
I don't think it's money for Tom Brady. I think it's about championships, and for Tom Brady to win another championship with the New England Patriots, he would probably have to take a pay cut so that he can put some weapons around him.
And that was another thing is that, look, and they had to do what they had to do with Antonio Brown. It is what it is. But it was basically Elman and nobody else, right?
Yeah, basically. Well, definitely. He didn't even have running backs on the team.
Yeah, so Tom Brady was kind of in an island. So that's the reason why people are willing.
Yeah, you said something like Tom Brady had a significantly worse year this year. Do you think that was how much do you think that is attributed to Tom Brady actually being worse, and how much do you think is attributed to the lack of weapons he had around him?
I'm inclined to say it was 80-20, that it was the weapons around him.
Okay.
And, look, he's 42 years old. Of course he's worse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I also think that, look, Tom Brady loves his tight ends.
Yeah.
He didn't have a tight end last year.
Not one.
He didn't have a tight end last year. A legit, dependable.
Not one. Not when we say not one, we mean somebody who could fit in Bill Belichick's system and
an NFL level.
And get him 80. No, like 80 yards a game in that.
Look, as much of a
flat route.
As much of a horrible person as Aaron Hernandez was, one of the things that made him such a famous guy in New England is that they ran that double tight system that Tom Brady really liked to run.
Yeah.
Right? So,
got to a Super Bowl with it.
They got to a Super Bowl with a double tight system with him and Gronk. So, I think, he didn't have a tight end. He didn't have that long threat that he really liked. He had it for about 2 weeks, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what made Edelman so successful because Brown would run long, and then Edelman would come in under, and then Edelman would get the checkdowns. So, and they always had that. Brandon Cooks.
You talking about this year?
Well, just throughout years, they've had that long threat. Brandon Cooks, you know, Randy Moss, they've had it.
Yeah.
So,
and they were trying to do the same thing with Brown, yeah.
And they were trying to do it with Brown. And Brown's one of the best route runners I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. So, well, when he was, you know, sane. So, I think, yeah, it is, a lot of it has to do with the fact that Tom Brady just didn't have a receiving core. But I also think, past Edelman, but I also think that Tom Brady is also 42. And if you're an opposing team who's looking to pick him up, you have to ask yourself, how many years are we going to get Tom Brady at an elite level?
Right.
Right? So if you're Tom Brady, would it be in your best interest to sign a 2-year, $20 million deal with New England? Or would you try to get that 4-year, $50 million deal from a Jacksonville, who would definitely take that deal? Or the Las Vegas Raiders?
I don't think Tom Brady has 4 years left.
No, but someone will be willing to pay him 4 years, right?
Nobody's going to pay him 4 years.
I can think of 10 teams who will pay him 4 years.
You can't think of 10 teams.
I will give you 10 teams right now. I will give you 10 teams right now who will pay him $10 million.
There's not 10 teams out there. Okay.
Detroit will pay him for 4 years.
When they have Matthew, I know Matthew Stafford isn't like. I know Matthew Stafford. I know Matthew Stafford's there's question marks around him, but they can still develop him. Like they still have a chance to develop him. He's not done yet. He's
28. What do you mean?
He's not done yet. He's still an upper echelon quarterback, and maybe they bring in Tom Brady for like 2 years, and Matthew Stafford learns how to play under Tom Brady, and then they work with him again. Like, yeah,
they will pay him for 4 years. What are we talking about?
Okay, fine. Who else?
All right.
I don't think they will.
The Chargers will pay him for 4 years.
The Chargers. Okay, I guess
the Chargers will. The Raiders will pay him for 4 years.
Yeah.
The Broncos will pay him for 4 years.
I think the Broncos are looking at the draft. I think the Broncos are looking at the draft.
The Broncos would definitely. The Redskins. Sorry, curse my tongue. You know, the Washingtons will pay him for 4 years. Instead of
go after Tua?
Yes. Because Washington is a terrible franchise.
So you would rather if you were the Washington Redskins, you would rather take Tom Brady.
No, if I'm a sane person, of course I would take Tua and like bite the bullet for the first 2 years that he's gonna suck. But I'm thinking as the Redskins and their inept franchise who is terrible at making decisions, they would pay him for 4 years. If Tom Brady negotiated, they would pay him for 4 years.
Tom Brady's not trying to go to the Redskins because the Redskins don't have anybody. But
he would if I'm just saying if Tom Brady like teams that were willing. I'm not saying teams that Tom Brady will go to. Teams that are willing to.
This is turning into a discussion about who will pay Tom Brady 4 years. But David, what do you think? Do you think Tom Brady should leave New England, or do you think he should stay in New England?
For me, this is just one of those. Well, first of all, full disclosure, not a huge football fan, but I feel like a lot of sports, it's just one of those things where what do you value more? Do you value loyalty, or do you value winning, or do you value money,
Absolutely.
or do you value fame?
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, I think Tom Brady's somebody who values winning, and I think he wants, just based on the experience he had this year, he wants to go to a team that at least has something going, can make a playoff run or playoff push for the Super Bowl in the next 2 to 3 years. And I think right now his best options are Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Indianapolis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They are willing to pay him for 4 years, 100%.
Indianapolis. And
But if he does that, doesn't he kind of ruin his legacy? Because one thing that's transcendent in all sport is if you sign for a team as a young player and you stay loyal to that team, you're pretty much, pretty much royalty when you retire. If you stay with that team the entirety of your career. So
yeah, but I think
he's going to play for Tennessee, even if he was to get another Super Bowl, like would it still have the same impact? Like we don't.
I think the only time
really
it
talk
would.
about Shaq
I
in
think.
Miami. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Well, no, people talk about Shaq going to Miami. They just don't talk about him going to Boston. You know, like I think if you're successful in that other team, like Shaq was on Miami, you don't necessarily get the questions. It's only when you suck for that other team. Like no one talks about Hakeem on the Raptors. No one talks about Ewing on the Supersonics, right? No one talks about or Orlando where he didn't play at all. But no one talks about Montana on the Kansas City Chiefs, although Montana wasn't bad. But the point is that no one talks about him there.
I think he won a few playoff games.
He won a few, but he was not nearly the same player.
No.
Right? So no one talks about it there because, yeah, they're not the same. But if Tom Brady can go to Tennessee and scorch earth like Peyton Manning did for Denver, then it actually almost adds to it because then you can show people that you're not a system guy, right? So, I think maybe emotionally it ruins like the team that you're on's perception of you as a person, but as a player, it depends on what you can do.
I think all Tom Brady needs to do is win like a few playoff games for the team he goes to, and his legacy will remain intact. Tom Brady.
Go on.
Thanks. The New England Patriots have won 6 Super Bowls with Tom Brady, and guess how many they've won without him? 0.
None.
Zilch. The people of New England are forever indebted to Tom Brady. So I don't think his legacy changes if he goes to a different team. So, but I mean, maybe if he goes to a different team and he is terrible, then yeah, it's kind of like, okay, there'll always be that question like, okay, you couldn't do it without Belichick. But I think all he really has to do is win a few playoff games. But I think he wants to go to a team where he can win it all.
I think, in my opinion, I think this is just one of those things. And first of all, I want to say that I completely respect anybody who puts their body on the line to play professional sports, let alone one as violent and as contact heavy as football. However, man, I think this is just one of those things that is almost developed for the media. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at the end of the day, he's probably going to stay with the Patriots because that's just the logical thing to do. They're going to shove a bunch of money for him under the table because that's how, in reality, a lot of contracts are negotiated these days. What his contract is on paper is going to be different than the money he's getting in endorsement. Sorry, it's going to pale in significance to the money he's getting from endorsements, from, behind the scenes deals, like from stocks, from options. Like money wouldn't be an issue, and I feel like he probably has the kind of relationship with the owner because for some reason football owners are just so heavily, and just American sports in general, but I've seen this trend even creep into soccer a little bit, but just owners are just so heavily involved in the daily operation of a team. And if you think about any kind of like business, that's just like the worst thing you can do at all. But anyway,
I think you're right.
He has a relationship with the owner, and I actually think that he's going to stay. And I think that he's just stretching it out, almost like the Kawhi thing. But Kawhi just wanted the attention because he was going to bank out. But it's almost like the less he says anything and the more he stretches it out, the more we talk about it, the more the NFL gains relevance again, and the more the Patriots seem like a real contender for next year if they have Tom Brady on their team. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think you're right. I think he stays with the Patriots. I don't think it's a question of money. I think it's a question of championships. And they'll find a way to put pieces around Tom Brady. They'll develop their backup quarterback, and they'll acquire some pieces. Maybe even get AJ Green. So,
well, I think one of the things about New England that we can't deny is they're a shady organization.
a little bit.
You
Little
know,
bit.
You know,
Just a little bit.
Deflategate, Spygate 2.0.
Yeah, the one that
they
was
got
recently, right?
yeah, they got some skeletons. Robert Kraft being allegedly accused of being part of a prostitution ring. They got some skeletons, if I should say, and so they'll figure out a way, to make Tom Brady happy and figure out a way to get things around him, in the interest of winning, and yeah. So my heart, my brain would say, yeah, he's gonna go on. He's gonna stay with New England. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be kind of cool if Tom Brady said,
Did you hear?
I'm going
Did
to
you hear
Las
the
Vegas.
scenario where? Did you hear the scenario where he ends up with San Francisco and Garoppolo goes back to New England?
Oh, that if there was a God,
That would be incredible.